You can't count on me. Overview. The Empire is one of magic, woven both by mortal magicians and eternal inhabitants of the realms. While the archmages engage in formal parley and the Imperial Conclave guides the magicians of the Empire, there is plenty of other magic that sometimes falls through the cracks. Here we round up as many magical incidents or opportunities as possible. Mortal magic. Destruction of the Imperial Crown. 6 years ago, during the spring equinox, the Imperial Conclave interdicted the Imperial Crown. This was at a time before the significant changes to the way the Conclave operates and the way its declarations work. For a while the matter was moot, as the crown was in the possession of the Sumer Republic, but it was recently returned to the Empire and is believed to currently be in the hands of the private collectors who recovered it from the Thule, where it will remain until such time as a throne is elected. The crown was reconciled a year later, and that might have been the end of the matter. Unfortunately, it has since come to light that the declaration of reconciliation was raised by Maria Wolfsdotter during an emergency session of the conclave, something that did not and does not have any legal standing, meaning that legally, the Imperial Crown is a magic item still subject to the conclave's interdiction. The magistrates are instructed to destroy any magic items that the conclave interdicts. As such, the magistrates should seize and destroy the Imperial Crown. Before such a tumultuous action is taken, however, the magistrates seek the guidance of the Imperial Conclave on this matter. There is some irregularity around the entire emergency session of the conclave anyway, and they don't want to destroy a unique artifact such as the crown on a technicality. As such, and with the blessing of the Constitutional Court, the prefect of the conclave will raise a declaration of license at the conclave session on Friday night, proposing that the Imperial Crown no longer be interdicted. If this declaration passes, everything will proceed normally. If the declaration does not pass, then after the end of the conclave session, the magistrates will seize the Imperial Crown, and after ascertaining that they have the actual item, seek the assistance of a coven capable of performing the Words of Ending ritual to destroy it. Any such covens who wish to make themselves known to the magistrates can find them at the hub, and even if the crown is reconciled, they would be interested in hearing from covens who could destroy any other artifacts the conclave may interdict. A gift of new talents. The day after the winter solstice, a powerful magical effect falls over the Mournworld. Originating in the summer realm, it resonates strongly with the idea of prowess. Imperial citizens are familiar with the idea that summer enchantments can make someone formidable in battle, but that is by no means the limit of what the realm's magic considers a heroic characteristic. In this case, the magic does little to encourage people to fight, but instead grants them unexpected inspiration in crafting and the arts, especially the arts of cooking, brewing, and distilling. Examination by Marcher magicians suggests that the magic is the result of a boon bestowed by the Lord of the Crossroads, although exactly where it originated is unclear. The immediate impact is that anyone in the Mournworld who regularly cooks, crafts, or creates art experiences a role-playing effect. You feel an urge to take pride in the things you have made, showing them to or sharing them with others. Visitors to the Mournworld are encouraged to role-play that they have eaten wonderful food, drunk incredible beer, seen beautiful works of art, and the like. The magic will have faded by the end of the spring equinox. However, there are two other knock-on effects. Firstly, any character whose personal resource is in the Mournworld at the start of the spring equinox can completely change their character skills between events by sending an email to plot@profountdecisions.co.uk with details of which skills they wish to change. It is fine to keep some skills and change others. This represents the fact that the summer magic encourages people in the Mournworld to find new ways to apply their natural talents and to take up new skills. Secondly, over the 3 months after the spring equinox, there will be a boon to trade across the territory. All these beautiful works of art, finely crafted items, excellent quality pies, ales and spirits will be much in demand. Every business resource in the Mournworld following the event will produce an additional 36 rings. Twisting Shadows. Quite some time ago, the Spire of Twisting Shadows in Zenith was established as a haven and a hospital for the treatment of those who had been badly harmed by magical causes. Some suffered from debilitating curses which could not be alleviated, but most were the victims of astromancy run awry. In spring 380 YE, during the whole Red Star incident, the Spire of Twisting Shadows was destroyed. A stopgap measure was introduced shortly afterwards when the Imperial Conclave were asked to choose a replacement for the Spire and its valuable service to the Empire. Last year, during the autumn equinox, a Wintermark coven with the unusual name of the Sac Magique raised a Concord and were named as the new custodians of the Spire's legacy. This is, of course, extremely irregular and flaunts all the normal rules for an imperial title. The civil service investigated and discovered that the role of the Spire of Twisting Shadows as a place where those in need of treatment for magical maladies could find sanctuary was established by the Imperial Senate. The official title is Custodian of the Lost, and disentangling how it is supposed to work has proved to be quite a challenge. The title has a responsibility to help people harmed by magical curses or by exposure to celestial forces. They receive a small payment of 2 crowns each season from bequests made by the families of former patients. They should, by rights, be appointed by declaration of candidacy, not concord. Going forward, this will be the legal route to claiming the title. After reviewing the records and looking closely at recent declarations, the civil service has determined that Hammer Meathammer Stenning is the custodian of the lost. The idea that an imperial title might be held by a spire or coven is unconstitutional. The Quiet Hall. Shortly before their death last year, the Navarre magician Harad of the High Path left a bequest intended for the custodian of the lost. Unlike most bequests, which take the form of a magic item, a ritual text, or a supply of materials, this bequest takes the form of a large wayhouse and several surrounding buildings, all constructed by Harad and their steading in Oaky Ways in Miaran. Set in an idyllic light woodland, Harad's hope was that the hall would be ideal for converting to a hospital for treatment of magical maladies. Harad was a former patient at the Spire of Twisted Shadows after he inadvertently became possessed by a potent tulpa of the Claw. Without the aid of the Urizeni magicians and the custodian of the lost, he would surely have died without ever regaining lucidity. As a bequest, the Quiet Hall is now available for the Imperial Conclave to dispose of with a declaration of endowment. If it is bestowed on the custodian of the lost, the title will have a new permanent base of operations from which to tend to those harmed or corrupted by exposure to powerful magic. This would create an opportunity for a commission to complete transforming the Wayhouse into a hospital specifically for the treatment of magical ailments, and potentially provide additional benefits to the custodian of the lost. While Harad has asked that the hall be given over to the custodian of the lost, his will does not specify that it must be. There is an alternative possibility. The gardens and the woodlands that surround the hall are apparently quite rich in dragonbone. Obviously, gathering such materials is not conducive to a healing environment, but Harad's niece, Mathoni High Path, has promised that if the Imperial Conclave endows the Wayhouse and its grounds to her and her family, they will provide a bequest of 5 measures of dragonbone each season to the vaults of the Conclave Order named in the declaration. The Seventh Mist. The students at the Spire of the Seventh Mist have not abandoned their goal of making themselves a massive nuisance at the Brilliant Star Mithril Mine. There has been no word of the Imperial Senate authorizing their request for access to the mines, nor any invitation to establish a permanent research station in its depths. There was a declaration of concord supporting their petition, raised in the conclave by the Grand Master of the Unfettered Mind, Eliza, but it was not supported. The Spire of the Seventh Mist promised that if such a declaration was raised, they would provide a bequest of welt silver to the conclave to be delivered to the vaults of the order most responsible for securing this support. The support was not actually secured, but the arbiter of the Spire has still arranged for a box containing 12 ingots of welt silver to be delivered to Grand Master Eliza in recognition of their effort. The equivalent of an entire year of the bequest that would have been created if the declaration had passed. For now, The students of the Seventh Mist are apparently considering their options, still confident there is much to be learned by unfettered access to the peculiar radiance to be found in the depths of the mithril mine. A letter-writing campaign has apparently been discussed in detail, with the intention of persuading other prominent citizens to support their cause. Participation. If you have an imperial title associated with the Bourse, the Conclave, or the nation of Urizen, or you are a scholar or practitioner of day magic, you may have received a letter from the Seventh Mist asking for your support in encouraging the Senate to let the students establish a base of operations in the mine. The letters focus on the benefits to the Doyen of the Spires, as explained in last month's Wind of Fortune, on the potential to master or indeed reproduce the benefits of the magical aura that aids concentration, and on the importance of uncovering secrets and mysteries and learning what they mean. Stubborn spirits. Conjunction. Greensward in the Mornwold remains haunted, and a number of particularly stubborn ghosts have congregated in the woods at Overton Ruins. These ghosts are particularly hard to communicate with, exorcism alone proving unsuccessful and no anchors in sight. The local monks and friars have been stumped. The monk Mary Overton suggests a fresh approach. They have shown the ghosts kindness and comfort, sought solutions to their problems, and if this isn't good enough for them, then it needs to be made clear that they're not welcome anymore. She calls for a group of marchers to enter the woods bringing some rough music. She hopes that this confrontation will push the spirits to open up enough to be allowed to pass on. During the spring equinox, a conjunction of the Sentinel Gate will allow a group of up to 50 people to travel to the area threatened by the ghosts at 11 o'clock at night on Friday. The monks have asked the Friar of Honour's Rest to organise a band of marchers bringing rough music and rites of exorcism to lay the ghosts to rest and help further efforts to bring peace to Greensward. Accessibility. This encounter is not intended to feature fighting and is classed combat unlikely or contained. Attempts to solve the problem with physical force have been unsuccessful. This is an opportunity for marchers and exorcists to pass through the Sentinel Gate for a mixture of rough music, roleplay, and investigation in an unnerving, haunted atmosphere. It will take place across an area of woods a couple of minutes' walk from the Sentinel Gate, on flat ground. Strongholds and shrouds. During the winter solstice, magical fortifications were raised by Imperial magicians across the Empire. The dripping echoes of the fen rose in the drownbark forest in Ossium, there to shield the Iron Helms if the Druge had decided to once again try to reclaim the land. Likewise, in dank, cold Calaveza, the fog lay heavy over Calaveza Marsh and Westmarsh. In Zenith, the subtle effects of the Nightwoven enhance the potency of the mists that coil and wrap around the unwary. 2 great walls of branch and thicket were summoned from the Spring Realm in Alderley and Lustri. Magical penumbral veils still hang over the Druge territory of the Barons, the Urizen territory of Zenith, and the League territory of Sarvos. New shrouds have been raised over the highborn territory of Necropolis and the freeborn territories of Madruga and Segura. Rituals that try to divine information about or scry into these territories will first need to overcome the power of the veil, and the only way to prematurely remove these shrouds is through use of piercing light of revelation. There may be other veils in place. News of shrouds only comes from places where the Empire has a notable presence. Whispering Gate. The Black Gate can be opened to allow masters of winter magic to commune with the spirits of the dead. For reasons that have never adequately been explained, the gate can only be opened at twilight, when it is neither quite day nor quite night. Imperial magicians prognosticate that this means that during the spring equinox, the ritual can be performed between 9:30 and 10:30. This information is, of course, of particular relevance to the Imperial necromancer, given their powers and responsibilities. Eternal magic. Winter wards. On behalf of the unfettered mind, Claudia Varkulova Remis accepted the offer from Tharim to ward the Hall of Worlds from intrusion by heralds. Using his mastery of oaths and wards and the power of chains and binding, Tharim now makes it harder for heralds who do not possess amity to enter the Hall of Worlds freely. This ward remains in place while Tharim himself enjoys the friendship of the Conclave, while he has Amity. As part of the arrangement, Conclave needs to display an image of him, a tapestry, a portrait, a statue, an abstract piece of work that captures his essence, whatever seems most appropriate, positioned in the Hall of Worlds in a position of honour, prominent enough that it is visible from every part of the hall. The initial intention was that the image would remain in place permanently, but Tharim has since accepted that if this were the case it would be very hard indeed to ensure that the image remained undefaced. Consequently, his requirement will be maintained as long as such an image is displayed during every conclave session. It is a matter of reminding Imperial magicians of his patronage. While Tharim has Amity, and an image of the Eternal is prominently displayed during every conclave session, it is impossible for heralds of Eternals under enmity to enter the Hall of Worlds without an explicit invitation, just as it is in the wider Empire. Heralds of neutral Eternals will not be able to take more than 3 steps into the Hall of Worlds without verbal permission from an Imperial magician. Heralds of Eternals with Amity, such as Tharim, would be unaffected, as would heralds of any Eternal responding to a plenipotentiary message. Litany of Letters. Shortly before the spring equinox, a bird not unlike a starling but the size of a child begins to pester civil service members with little regard for queues, waiting lists, or booking an appointment. When plied with seed cake and the entire attention of those she wishes to speak to, she introduces herself as Litany, list keeper for the Speaker in Dreams. She invites citizens of the Empire to participate in an exchange of letters. The Keeper of the Gates of Wisdom is mournful that across nations voices keep silent for fear of the consequences of speaking words fueled with conviction and faith. Litany says she has come to offer the Empire, and nations both nearby and oh so distant, an outlet for such words. In plainer terms, this letter exchange is for any whose religious beliefs are not accepted in their home country, or who find themselves drawn to such beliefs. Litany invites such people to write a letter which she will deliver to an individual knowledgeable about the religion, living in a nation where their faith is accepted. The letters should not be addressed to a specific individual. The little bird fluffs up her feathers and declares herself an artist of courier arts and no simple messenger when such suggestions are made. She assures all who take part that she will find the best recipient for their letter. Letters for the exchange should be a single piece of paper with a picture of a bird drawn somewhere on them. To submit the letter, participants should bring the letter to the Anvil Regio and cast Operate Portal on it. In order to ensure a reply can be delivered, she emphasises that all letters must include the sender's full name. Of course, there may well be those who wish to participate in this exchange, but do not have the ability to cast magic. Litany encourages the mages of the Empire to honour any requests to send through the portal on another's behalf. In addition, Litany wishes for the Empire's great priests to know that she has made a delivery of letters involved in this exchange to the current Archmage of Night. These letters come from across the world, penned by those who are curious about aspects of the Way, or already followers themselves, but who cannot find out more in their own nation. She trusts that the Archmage will know the individuals best placed to reply to these letters. Such replies can be sent in the same way as the other letters. They must be written with a clear recipient and sender on a single piece of paper with a picture of a bird drawn on it, and can be sent by taking them to the Anvil Regio and casting Operate Portal. Lord of the Crossroads. The Empire continues to show its appreciation for the challenges presented by Barrion, the Master of the Dragonforge, and so, as the time comes near for another summit, a number of winged messengers flutter into the hands of Imperial citizens knee-deep in their attempts to triumph over adversity and earn the favour of the Iron Duke. This summit, Revel and his associates summon Tono Shatha Requesa, Edric of House du Frost, and Dame Aurum de Castellan to all receive their challenge scrolls and begin their noble quests. As usual, the Iron Duke's heralds have paid for the use of a space in Anvil, and will be enjoying some Dornish hospitality at House du Lac, where they can be found on Friday evening between the hours of 7 and 9. Anyone who has formal business with the heralds, or simply wishes to inquire about Barrion, the Summer Realm, or challenging the Lord of the Crossroads, is welcome to come do so. Revel has sent a number of letters out before the event, and so the heralds are around to answer any questions people might have about them. This particularly applies to the House of the Gilded Vine and Adon y Matan y Erego, but their attendance is not required if everything is in order. The heralds would, on the other hand, like to speak to both Tarik of Ashenhall and Aldwin of House de Rondel about their ongoing quests. If for whatever reason anyone who needs to speak to the heralds cannot do so on Friday, they will return on Sunday after the battle to tidy up loose ends. Sorin's chastising touch. During the winter solstice, the Summer Archmage hosted a parley with representatives of Sorin. The meeting apparently went well, and during it Imperial magicians delivered extensive tribute to the Tomb King, especially in the form of the Dragonbone the Eternal is known to favour. The respect this shows has led the Hunger Crow to offer a gracious boon. A ritual scroll containing the details of a rite that draws on his power and will perhaps aid Imperial magicians to better understand his philosophy of gaining strength and greater understanding through experiencing suffering. The scroll will be delivered to the Winter Archmage. They may keep it, deliver it to whomever convinces them they are worthy, share it with the Empire, or gift it to Urizen. What they choose to do with it is up to them. That is the nature of a gift, after all. Summer's dawning. The plan to transform the eastern sky, first proposed in autumn last year by Lady Nimue de Moraine, gathers pace. After much discussion, the Enchantresses of Dawn have apparently invited 5 Eternals of the Summer Realm to stand as patrons for the army, transforming it from a resourceful army to a favoured army. The Summer Lion, Queen of Ice and Darkness, Lord of Summer Stars, Knight of the Crossroads, and Regent of the Eternal Sea are ready to offer their support to the army, provided the people of Dawn can meet the requirements for that support. The situation with the 5 Eternals appears to be as follows. Eleonaris has been honoured with the construction of a statue at the Golden Causeway in Semaholm, and will enthusiastically provide her favour to the army. At the winter solstice, the Cabal of Nevizamza invoked Challenge the Iron Duke for Dame Autumn de Castellan, General of the army, and when the resultant challenge is completed, Barrion will happily support the eastern sky. Rhiannos can still be honoured with a statue, but has also mentioned that there might be other options to secure his boon. Miraud is also sending a herald to the parley Rhiannos has requested. The Golden Magician indicates that if some of the Enchantresses of Dawn attend that parley, they can speak with his apprentice about what they might do other than build a beautiful statue at weaving. Also, if possible, could they make sure nothing happens to the apprentice, given they are not formally part of the parley? Finally, Cathan Cannae is said to be intrigued to be invited to aid the army, and while she could be encouraged to do so with a statue built in Dawnguard, there is another opportunity. One thing that all the Eternals have made clear is that they are prepared to provide patronage to the army if they are asked. The boons they provide, in the form of the special army orders, will only be available once their challenges are met or the statues honouring them are completed. There is no need to wait until all 5 challenges are completed to perform the official ceremony to receive the favours, which can still take place at the summer solstice as scheduled. Splendour of the White Bear. Cathan Cannae endures and expects others to do the same. A statue built in a liberated Dawnguard would certainly win her support, but there is an alternative. According to one of her heralds sent to speak with the Troubadours of Dawn, she would be prepared to grant her favour to the eastern sky if the people of Dawn were to align themselves more strongly with her preferred methods of waging war. The Troubadours have put their heads together, and with the aid of the civil service, proposed the following mandate that would honour the Queen of Ice and Darkness, arguably better than any statue. A great life leaves a legend, and the soul cannot be armoured. When we stand against our enemies, we should do so as an unbreakable wall of ice and adamant. We send named priest with 75 doses of Liao to spread tales of glorious defence and urge all those who fight beneath our banners to become as immovable as the mountain. Synod Mandate, Dawn National Assembly. If this mandate is enacted, then going forward no General of Dawn will be able to issue the Give Ground or Solid Defence orders. If they do, they will instead default to Heroic Stand. They would still be able to issue special defensive orders that arise from qualities or opportunities, but in the normal course of a campaign, they will attempt to give as little ground as possible when they defend a territory. If this mandate is enacted, Cathan Kane will grant her boon to the Eastern Sky. Removing the effects at a later date are likely to incur the Eternal's displeasure. Surut and the Archmage. A year ago, the Burnt Prince apparently made an agreement with some Imperial citizens to torment Ematius, the Winter Archmage. The details of this agreement are not commonly known. Surut intends to send one of his agents to the Imperial Regio at 7:30 on Saturday evening to hear from any Imperial citizen who has made the Archmage's life more miserable. Depending on their success, and how much they can impress Surut's agent with their tales, there will apparently be boons. From the cagey way Surut's herald delivers information about this meeting, it seems likely that the agent is not a herald. The only thing Surut will confirm is that it will be someone, or something, well versed in torment. A game of strategy. Following on from his invitation at the winter solstice, Zakalwe has arranged a game for the Dornish strategists that his servant Agon has already spoken with. A team of 6 will need to assemble at the Hall of Worlds for 9 in the evening on the Friday of the summit. From there, Zakalwe's trusted lieutenant will escort them to a chamber where they may attempt a challenge based on one of the military campaigns in the reign of Empress Brannon.